Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22. Thank you. Text 40. Krishro mahan iha bhavarnavam aplavesham. Krishro mahan iha bhavarnavam aplavesham. Sadvarganakram sukhena titirshanti. Sadvarganakram asukhena titirshanti. Tatvam harir bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritvo dhupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Dhupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Krishro mahan iha bhavarnavam aplavesham. Krishro mahan iha vabha aplavesham. Sadvarganakram asukena titirshanti. Ganakram asukena titirshanti. Tatvam harir bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Harir bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritvo dhupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Sanam uttara dushtararnam. Krishro mahan iha bhavarnavam aplavesham. Sadvarganakram asukena titirshanti. Tatvam harir bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritvo dhupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Prabhus. Krishro mahan iha bavarnavam aplavesham. Sadvarganakram asukena titirshanti. Tattvam harer bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritvo dupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Krishro mahan iha bavarnavam aplavesham. Sadvarganakram asukena titirshanti. Tattvam harer bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritvo dupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Krishro mohan iha bavarnavam aplavesham. Satvarganakram asukena titirshanti. Tattvam harer bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritvo dupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Matajis? Krishro mahan iha bavarnavam aplavesham. Sakpan bad kena titirshanti. Tattvam harir bhagavato bhajaniyam angrim. Kritva dupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. Synonyms. Kritsraha, troublesome. Mahan, very great. Iha, here, in this life. Bhavarnavam, ocean of material existence. Aplava isham, of the non-devotees who have not taken... Okay, let's do part by part. Of the non-devotees who have not taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Satvarga, 6 senses. Nakram, sharks. Asukena, with great difficulty. Titirshanti, cross over. Tat, therefore. Tvam, you. Harehe, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavataha, of the Supreme. Bhajaniyam, worthy of worship. Angrim, the lotus feet. Kritva, making. Udupam, boat. Vyasanam, all kinds of dangers. Uttara, cross over. Dustara, very difficult. Arnam, the ocean. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. First translation, my bad. The ocean of nescience is very difficult to cross because it is infested with many dangerous sharks. Although those who are non-devotees undergo severe austerities and penances to cross that ocean, we recommend that you simply take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. which are like boats for crossing the ocean. Although the ocean is very difficult to cross, by taking shelter of his lotus feet, you will overcome all dangers. Purport. Material existence is compared herein to the great ocean of nescience. Another name for this ocean is Vaitarani. In the Vaitarani ocean, which is the causal ocean, there are innumerable universes floating like footballs. On the other side of the ocean of this spirit is the spiritual world of Vaikuntha, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita 8.20. Asparas tasmat tubhayo nyaha. Thus, there is an ever-existing spiritual nature which is beyond this material nature. Even though all the material universes are annihilated again and again in the causal ocean, the Vaikuntha planets, which are spiritual, exist eternally and are not subject to dissolution. The human form of life gives the living entity a chance to cross over the ocean of nescience, which is this material universe, and enter into the spiritual sky. Although there are many methods or boats by which one can cross the ocean, the Kumaras recommend to the king that the king take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, just as one can take shelter of a good boat. Non-devotees who do not take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet try to cross the ocean of nescience by other methods, like karma, jnana, and yoga. But they have a great deal of trouble. Indeed, sometimes they become so busy simply enjoying their troubles that they never cross the ocean. There is no guarantee that the non-devotees will cross the ocean, but even though they manage to cross, they have to undergo severe austerities and penances. On the other hand, anyone who takes shelter of the process of devotional service and has faith that the lotus feet of the Lord are the safe boats to cross the ocean is certain to cross very easily and comfortably. Prithu Maharaj is therefore advised to take the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord to easily cross over all dangers. Dangerous elements in the universe are compared to sharks in the ocean. Even though one may be a very expert swimmer, he cannot possibly survive if he is attacked by sharks. One often see that so many so-called sannyasis and yogis sometimes advertise themselves as competent to cross over the ocean of nescience and to help others cross. But in actuality, they are found to be simply victims of their own senses. Instead of helping their followers to cross the ocean of nescience, such swamis and yogis fall prey to Maya, represented by the fair sex, women, and are thus devoured by the sharks in that ocean. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Homa Yajna timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam kuroti vachalam pangulam gayate girim yakripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, so today we have a very wonderful verse that basically summarizes our entire direction and goal in our Krishna conscious life. Yeah, we have to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, the boat like lotus feet of the Lord, so we can easily cross over this ocean of material suffering. Yeah. And I was very fortunate that I found a lecture given by Bhaktivinod Swami. He gave quite recently, and he brings so many wonderful points and examples and quotes, so I will very heavily take from his class and hopefully be able to parrot nicely whatever he said. Yeah. Okay, so in this canto, or in this part of this canto, Prithu Maharaj is being advised by the 4 Kumaras how to cross over this ocean of material suffering. And so up till now, they're giving very clear examples of what devotional service is, the importance of following it correctly, the different processes of devotional service. And like that, they're giving so much advice to Maharaj Prithu. And Prithu Maharaj, being fully qualified, he himself is hearing it with full surrender, which is a prerequisite for one to understand spiritual knowledge, right? In Bhagavad Gita, we have the very famous verse, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, right? That knowledge which is attained by humble service, right? Surrender and a meek and a humble attitude in inquiring submissively, that knowledge can help one cross over. So when you want to understand Krishna consciousness, you cannot come with an idea that I know better, that I know more, that this is something inferior and I'm going to prove that it's inferior. This is not a way in which we can learn anything. Yeah, first one must, through a very humble attitude, come with an open heart. Then one can hear submissively. So Prithu Maharaj, he's surrendering to the 4 Kumaras, and he's asking them very humbly to explain devotional service to him. And so we can see by the example of Prithu Maharaj that he succeeded in his dharma, in his service, because his goal from the very beginning was to please the Lord. And we see that the example in the purports is given by that other yogis, swamis, karmakandis, they struggle through so much difficulty, but they do not achieve the ultimate goal because they do not please the Lord. Their activities may be the same, but their desires are different. So Prithu Maharaj, he did not complete his 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices, as we heard previously. Yeah, his 100 sacrifices he was doing to become the emperor of the world. He was doing it simply to please the Lord. And that's why when Indra came and stopped his 100th sacrifice, he was so angry because he was angry at Indra that Indra was comparing him to himself. The Indra was considering that Prithu Maharaj is just doing it for his own material enjoyment, and he will come and take over my position. But Prithu Maharaj is telling Indra that I'm doing this simply for the Lord. And so therefore the Lord was pleased with him. And Indra, who completed many more sacrifices than Prithu Maharaj, had to come and bow down to him and say that you are the greater one because you have managed through your activities to please the Lord. How much he did may have been less, but he actually achieved the goal, which was the Lord being pleased with him. Yeah, so Prithu Maharaj is a perfect example of this. That he didn't necessarily follow the path of jnana and karma. Instead, he went through the path of bhakti and pleased the Lord. His activities may have been the same. He was still a great king, a great emperor, performing his dharma perfectly. But his goal was to please the Lord. And so therefore, it was very easy for him. Yeah? And this verse, it's also so clearly stated that there's no guarantee for those karmis and jnanis that even after they commit these very great austerities and penances, that they will achieve their goal. Why? Because they will not be fully satisfied. We understand this in Bhagavatam very clearly, that when one merges into Brahman after leaving this material world, if that's his goal, to merge into the light of Brahman, the happiness that he feels is unimaginable. You cannot even compare it to anything in this material world, even if you multiply it billions of times. But in that state of merging into Brahman, one is not fully happy because the eternal relationship with the soul and the Lord is not reestablished. Yeah, the eternal relationship is that of service, that of a relationship, that of love. And so that period of time when one is merged into Brahman may be billions of years, maybe billions of lifetimes. But eventually the jiva will desire something again. And in that state of Brahman, one cannot desire because there's no facility for one to interact. And because at that point one has not established his relationship with God yet, he cannot go more up. So he has to come back and try again. Yeah, so that is the futility of the process of karma and gyan. That even after so much austerity and difficulty, one manages to cross over the ocean. There's no guarantee that that stays, because eventually one will desire to have a relationship with the Lord. Yeah, so it's a maybe seem like a perfect remedy, but eventually one will desire. The comparison was given, and I heard many years ago, but it stuck so well, is that if one is suffering from some distress, all he can think about is to alleviate that distress. In India, we very, sometimes in the hot season, you can't think of anything else but to get into an AC room. And you get into the AC room and you're so happy. You just want to sit there in the boost, in the wind of the AC, and just And that can be 10 minutes, that can be 5 minutes, that can be 20 minutes, 15 minutes, but eventually you're going to want a cold drink. Eventually you're going to want something to eat, maybe a nice bed. Yeah? So that's that relief from the heat that you feel initially, right? That can last 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, depending how exhausted you are. But eventually you're going to desire something else. And so that's the same analogy that can be given. The pain of samsara is unimaginable. And once you are alleviated from that pain, you are supremely happy. But for a certain amount of time, until a new desire pops up. Yeah? So this certain amount of time in relation to our time is eternal. Right? We cannot distinguish how long it is because, you can't compare it. But eventually the jiva will desire something. So that's why it's stressed here that the only process by which one can be guaranteed is if you connect yourself with your Lord. Then that way, when you leave this material world, you have some fixed place that you're going to go to and have a relationship with Him and be eternally happy in that situation. Not simply take out the problem. Yeah? So we want to take out the problem, but that's a byproduct of devotion. Moksha is a byproduct of bhakti. It's not the goal of bhakti. The devotee can be supremely happy in this material world, just as he is in the spiritual world. Yeah? So this is so clearly stated by Brahma in his prayers to Krishna after he stole the cowherd boys. I think it's this part. So he says, Samashrita ye padda pallava plavam mahapadam punya yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsya padam param padam 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 yatvi padam natesham. For those who accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is the famous Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoofprint. The goal is Parampadam Vaikunta, the Parampadam, the eternal place, the place where there is no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. Yeah? So by surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord, Brahma is saying that this entire ocean full of sharks and waves and wind and so many different problems becomes to the size of a calf's hoofprint. Yeah, so small and it's so easily traversable by someone who surrenders to Krishna. Brahma himself is saying this, the creator of the universe. He's saying, right, the ocean of this material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoofprint for one who surrenders to the Lord's lotus feet. So if Brahma himself is saying this, we can be guaranteed that this is the truth. Because he knows. He has 4 heads and so much more intelligent than we do. Yeah. So after surrendering to Krishna, this is the words that Brahma is telling us. Yeah. This path of bhakti, you can analyze it in Bhaktivinoda Swami. He analyzes it as you go to a very tall building, let's say the Burj Khalifa in Dubai or the Twin Towers, right? Would you take the elevator or the staircase? Yeah, the elevator is so easy. Everyone takes the elevator. No one wants to take the staircase now. But the elevator is bhakti in this material world. So easy to get past. You simply get in and you're up, you go. But everyone seeing the process of bhakti says, no, this is too easy. They say it's too easy, but actually for them it's too expensive. Because what do you need to give up for the process of bhakti? Anyone knows? False ego and? Yes, and the main thing you have to give up, your separate desires from the Lord, right? Your desires cannot become yours anymore. They have to be offered to the Lord. So you have to give up your desire to be the controller and enjoyer. That's the only thing you need to do. And you have the ticket to go in the elevator. But by the process of karma and jnana, there's so many benedictions and different things that are says that you will get and you'll be able to do and you will enjoy and this and that. And so people find this to be the better path. Maharaj gives the comparison that in this material world, we're addicted to hard work, ugra karma. We're addicted to suffering. And we do not believe that there can be a process by which we do not need to suffer. It's ingrained into our mentality. Yeah? The beautiful song by Adi Shankaracharya, right? He says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, right? Again and again taking birth and again dying, right? Punarapi janani jhatare shayanam, right? Again and again, we're in this process of samsara, into the mother's womb and taking birth and dying, right? Iha samsare bahu dushtare. It's extremely difficult to pass over this material suffering, this material samsara, right? Kripa pare pahi murare. Please protect me by your mercy, Murari. So Adi Shankaracharya, right, who we see as an impersonalist, who's Shiva himself, and we understand that he's a great devotee of the Lord. When he was in his maturity of understanding and he just couldn't continue speaking this Mayavad philosophy, he then sang the song Bhaja Govinda. And in the entire Bhaja Govinda, he's simply stressing that only by the mercy of the Lord, only by the mercy of the Lord's holy name, one can cross over this material world. Yeah? So this process of karma and jnana has so many different flowers and fruits that it's promising the follower. But it's so difficult. Along with the fruits, it's saying that even if you do one thing wrong, everything is useless. Yeah, we have so many examples. There's the father of Vritrasura in Bhagavatam, right? He hated Indra, and he wanted to kill Indra, so he did a huge yajna to have a son that will kill Indra. But what happened? He said one syllable wrong. It wasn't even a syllable, it was an intonation. In Sanskrit, when you're chanting mantras, you have either up or down, right? Instead of going down, he went up. Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshman Shivare Bhagwan Ki Jai. And because of that, instead of having a son that would kill Indra, he had a son that would be killed by Indra. One mistake. So much sacrifice and austerity. And when these brahmanas do these sacrifices for some material benefit and some object, they're using years and years of the material penance and power that they have accumulated. Like money, it's gone. And with one mistake, the opposite. Right? So this karma and jnana, so many promises it gives us, but one tiny mistake and it's all gone. Right? So that's why Maharaj's analogy that it's a staircase is so true. You imagine walking 100 floors through steps. Right? I remember when I was a kid, there was a 10-story building in Calcutta and I raced with my brother. I almost had a heart attack at the top. I was running up the staircase trying to make it. At the same time, he went with the elevator. Right? It's so difficult, and that was only 10 floors. So you imagine going up 100 floors, instead of just taking the elevator, one decides to take the staircase. So difficult. So many problems all the time. Yeah? So we have to understand that we just need to give up this material desires we have and surrender to the holy name of the Lord. Then that way Krishna takes care of everything. Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. Just the first verse, the first line. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha. Give up all kinds of religion and dharma. Surrender unto me. I will take care of all your karma. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to worry about that I need to burn this karma or do this pious activity so that I get food, that I get money, that I get a good house, that I get, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Otherwise, you imagine the headache you would have that I need to do this yajna and this yajna so I have food, and I do this yajna so I have money, and this yajna so I can have good children, and this and that. So many problems one has to worry about. But if you sarva dharmam parityaja, if you get rid of everything, if you give up this attachment, Krishna takes care of everything. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. And what does he promise? Moksha ishyami. I will give you liberation. Masuchaha. Don't worry. He promises liberation to his follower. But that's a side effect. That's not our goal. We want to go back to him. The moksha, the liberation from this world is not our ultimate goal. That's a byproduct. Yeah? In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.8, the verse comes, Dharma sunushita pumsam visvakshena katasuya notpada yedyati bhavaratim shrama eva hi kevalam, right? Shrama eva hi kevalam. It is useless labor if one's activities does not promote attraction to Krishna. Yeah? The occupational activities of a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction to the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So everything we do in this world, we should judge by this verse. Is it bringing me closer to attraction to Krishna? Is it bringing me closer to the Lord or taking me further away? If it's taking us closer, then it's worth, then it's not useless labor. It's not kshama eva. Yeah, it's fruitful. It's something that's taking us closer to Krishna. But if it is not, we should throw it away because it is useless labor. Yeah, so different processes can promise us so many things, but if it's not taking us to the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the boat to take us over this material world, then we should consider it useless. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32, another verse is given that very clearly states the same thing. It says, Ye nye ravindaksha vimukta maninas tvai ashta bhavad avisuddha bhudhaya aruhya krichrena param padam tata patanti adho nadrita yusmad angrahaya. So someone may say that aside from non-devotees who always seek the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, there are those who are not devotees who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In the answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods say, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their positions of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. This is stressing again that what we said in the beginning, that one who may cross or may think they crossed this material world through other processes of jnana and karma, through severe austerities and penances, they fall again because they have no regard for your lotus feet. This is Brahma again speaking. This is part of the same chapter from the verse we quoted before. Yeah? Although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated. They think themselves liberated, right? Their intelligence is impure, and they fall down from their positions of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. Yeah? So if you do not hold on to the Lord's lotus feet, if you do not accept Him as your Lord and Master, then it's very difficult for one to maintain these imagined superiority because they have no attachment. Yeah, Brahma has very clearly said. And on the other side, there's another verse that's stressing the easiness of Krishna consciousness, of bhakti. And it says, Yan ashtaya naro rajan na pramadhyet karhachit dhavan nimilya va na netre na skalen na paten iha. So, O King, one who accepts the process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead will never blunder on his path in this world. Even while running with his eyes closed, he will never trip or fall. Yeah, so even it's so easy once you surrender to Krishna that even if you closed your eyes and ran at full speed, you wouldn't trip or fall. So what is this saying? Is this stressing? As soon as I heard this, I thought, does that mean blindly following is okay? That's not what it's saying. It's saying if you fully surrender and you give up complete control of whether you'll fall or not, Krishna will take care. That's what it's stressing. Krishna will guide you. You don't have to worry about it and everything else, right? Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Don't worry about anything else. Simply surrender unto him. That is what Krishna is pointing out in this. Well, this is actually, I think, the prayers of the Avanti Brahmana. He's stressing the easiness of this path. Yeah. There's something when I was reading this verse, there's one point that came up that I find quite funny when it's talking about difficult and easy. I don't know if any of you are familiar, but Srila Jiva Goswami, he rewrote Sanskrit grammar into a very beautiful book called Sri Harinama Mrita Vyakarana, which is Sanskrit grammar, but for devotees, pretty much. And Srila Prabhupada himself, in his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Srila Jiva Goswami compiled a grammar in two parts, named Lagu Harinama Mrita Vyakarana and Brihad Dari Nama Mrita Vyakarana. If someone studies these two texts of grammar, he learns the grammatical rules of Sanskrit language and simultaneously learns how to become a great devotee of the Lord. So by reading this book, one learns Sanskrit grammar and at the same time becomes a great devotee of the Lord, right? This is written by Srila Jiva Goswami, our Goswami, one of our 6 Goswamis. But still, there's so many people who prefer to study Panini grammar, which is so difficult. Was written by a long time ago by a great sage, Panini. And it's so difficult and so long and so difficult to understand. But there's even devotees who say that Srila Jiva Goswami's Harinama Mrita Vyakarana is for children. There is. Because they say it's too easy. It doesn't test the brain enough. Right? How can you say that? Srila Prabhupada himself is saying that if you read this, you understand Sanskrit, at the same time you become a devotee. And still, people are preferring the harder system because it's more difficult. It's the true grammar. Everything else is, too flowery and easy. Right? People are addicted, as Maharaj is saying, to ugra karma, to difficult work. Only if it's difficult, then it means something. Right? We have the English saying, right? Nothing good comes easy, right? Except Krishna consciousness. It's the only thing that comes easy. But we need to give up our own desires. Yeah? And I thought just so you can familiarize yourself a little bit, I copied down the first 4 verses of Srila Jiva Goswami's Harinama Mrita Vyakarana. He says, in order to worship Sri Krishna, I string together a succession of his names like a garland. May it quickly spread the joy produced by literature about him. Seeing that the multitude of grammars are full of meaningless statements, we have strung together a grammar for Vaishnavas, made of a garland of the names of Hari. Yeah, this is Jiva Goswami. He studied Panini. He knew it. But he said that this grammar is full of useless statements. And so he made this for Vaishnavas, yeah? Let those who are perpetually distressed and who want to preserve their lives in the midst of the desert of grammar drink this nectar of the names of Hari and dip into it hundreds of times. After offering obeisances to sweet Hari, let the residents of Vraja drink with devotion to him the grammar which is the juice of nectar of Hari's holy names. Yeah, so he wrote this for us. It's just Hari's names, everything he labeled with Hari's names, and every example he gave as Hari's names. Like in Panini grammar, there's one chapter called Sandip Prakaranam, which is when you join 2 words. When you join 2 words to give a meaning. In English, we say of, right? Like if I'm talking about Subal, I'll say of Subal, for Subal, from Subal. In Sanskrit, you simply add a suffix to the word, and automatically that comes. So there's so many charts in Panini grammar in which to explain this joining. But Jiva Goswami, he did it all with Krishna's names. And so when we were learning it in school, you just have to memorize the chart. Krishna, Krishno, Krishnaha, Krishnam, Krishno, Krishnan, Krishnena, Krishnabhyam, Krishnaihi, Krishnaya, Krishnabhyam, Krishnebhyaha, Krishnasya, Krishnayohu, Krishnanam, Krishne, Krishnayohu, Krishnesu, He Krishna, He Krishno, He Krishnaha, It's the full chart. And that's all the different. From Krishna, to Krishna, of Krishna, by Krishna, with Krishna, along with Krishna. So many different things that you're saying, and it's all with Krishna. And then that's Krishna ends with the A, with a short A. So then with a long A, then you have Radha, Radhe, Radhaha, right? With Radha's name. Or Hari, Hariyo, Hariyaha, Harim, Harim, Harin, right? All with Hari's name. Then you have an I. And like that, he took each name of Krishna that has a different letter ending and put the chart with Krishna's name. So you say the grammar and you're chanting Krishna's name. So easy. But no, it's too easy, Prabhu. You have to learn Panini grammar. That's the real grammar. Why? Right? So this is something that we have to constantly understand and remember, that Krishna gave us this process of devotional service, which is too easy. All he's asking us is to have faith. Shraddha mulye Krishna nam. Only with faith in the holy name. Then Krishna gives you everything that's needed. Yeah? Only Shraddha mulya. The only thing you have to give is faith. Faith, and you give up your material attachments, and Krishna will take care of the rest. So easy, right? In the story of the Avanti Brahmana, at the end, when he finally is offering prayers to the Lord directly, there's one last verse he says, which is so beautiful. It says, Etam saastaya paratmanishtam adhyasitam purvatamair maharshibi aham tarishyami duranta param tamo mukundangrini sevayaiva. Right? Aham tarishyami. I will cross over the ocean of this material world by surrendering to your lotus feet. Yeah, he says, I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nescience by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord. Yeah, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can take example by Srimad Bhagavatam, so many people who have done the same thing, who started in a position that we can understand as way inferior. The pastime of Ajamil, the pastime of Bali Maharaj, right? Someone who has much in a situation of great distress, of great suffering. And he simply by hearing the name of the Lord was able to quickly cross over the ocean of material suffering. Ajamil, if you think about it, did it in a split second, right? At the time of death, he called his son's name, Narayana, and immediately the Vishnudutas came. He didn't have to do anything. He simply said Narayana with great devotion, with great angst and desire. And quickly the Vishnudutas came, even after his life of great sinful activities. So as the Avanti Brahmana is giving the example, this has been approved by previous acharyas. We should have faith because we can see the examples. We have another great example, Prahlad Maharaj. Right? He was born of a great demon. A demon that you can't compare to anything now. So powerful. Ravana and all the other demons that we hear about are nothing compared to him. But by the association of a great devotee and by hearing the instructions, he took it to heart. And even a child of 5-year-old was able to pass this ocean of material suffering and attain Krishna's lotus feet. The Krishna himself came as Nrsingadev to protect him. Yeah. So it's so important for us to remind ourselves of the great fortune we have. The great fortune that we have in this Krishna conscious philosophy, in this Krishna conscious movement, in this process of devotional service. That we can cross over this ocean full of sharks, as is said in the verse. And not only that, Brahma says that this great ocean of sharks becomes a small puddle that's in the footprint of a calf. So easy to cross over. Why do we look for the staircase when there's an elevator? Why do we not just go to the elevator? It's free. No, have to take the staircase. Then it's meaningful. Has to struggle. We're addicted to struggle in this material world. We want the easy way out, but actually we don't. We love to feel like the victims. We love to feel like we're suffering, then feel something. Yeah? We cannot just say, no, everything is good. Everything is nice. No, Prabhu, yesterday was so difficult. What happened, Prabhu? I had to wash this many pots, and I had to do this, and the garbage was so big, and I had to throw it all away, and this and that, and this problem, and then I hurt my foot. And you just put yourself in the shoes of anyone else in this world suffering right now, and you'll see how insignificant it is. This is all nothing. Yeah, so we should take great pleasure and great pride in the opportunity we have and not waste it. Yeah. Today is also the disappearance day of Srila Ramanuja Acharya. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's one of the 4 Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Acharyas of the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. And he's the Acharya of the Sri Sampradaya. No, yesterday was Madhvacharya.
According to my calendar, it was Ramanuja. Anyway.
Either or. Yesterday or today. And so Sri Ramanuja Acharya, I was going to say a small, short pastime. There's many pastimes with him, but one of the pastimes that probably most exemplifies his mercy, his merciful nature, was after Ramanuja Acharya became a sannyasi, he got advised by some of his peers, by some of his disciples, that he should visit another great Vaishnava that was living nearby. And this Vaishnava's name was Goshti Purna. And so they said that Goshti Purna is such a great Vaishnava, and he has a mantra by which it can destroy all the suffering of this material world by hearing it. And so Ramanuja Acharya very eagerly went to Goshti Purna and surrendered himself and asked him to please share this mantra that he has that can please the Lord and help us destroy our material desires. And so first Goshti Purna was very reluctant. He said no. Actually, Ramanuja Acharya approached him 18 times to get this mantra. And 18 times Goshti Purna said no. Until finally Goshti Purna, while taking darshan of Ranganath, he got the inspiration that Ramanuja Acharya is fit to receive this mantra. And finally, he gave this mantra to Ramanuja Acharya. But he told Ramanuja Acharya that if you share this mantra with anyone who is not fit to hear it, they may be delivered, but you will have to go to hell for many lifetimes for sharing this pure mantra with someone who's unworthy. He gave him the warning. And that's why Goshti Purna was so hesitant to give it to Ramanuja Acharya, because he knew the karma that can come if he shares it with someone who's unworthy. So he told Ramanuja Acharya, repeat after me. And he said, Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. And so Ramanuja Acharya was so happy hearing this mantra, and he felt so relieved, he felt so uplifted. And so he left Goshti Purna. And he started thinking, but wait a minute, what about all these people here who are suffering? They can be delivered by hearing this mantra. And so he called everyone in the whole town together. He went to the top of the roof of the temple, and he shouted to everyone, everyone listen to this mantra. If you listen to this mantra and chant it with devotion, all your material desires will be destroyed, and you will go back to Vaikuntha at the time of death. And so everyone listened, and he shouted from the top of the temple, Om Namo Narayanaya 3 times. And everyone repeated, and everyone felt so blessed by the mantra. And they knew that now all they need to do is surrender to Krishna. And at the end of the time of death, they'll be able to go back. But Goshti Purna, when he heard that Ramanuja Acharya had disobeyed him and shared this mantra with not only one person, but everyone in the entire town, thousands of people, he was very upset. And so when Ramanuja Acharya finished chanting the mantra, he went straight to his guru because he knew his guru would want to talk to him. And Goshti Purna said, get out of my sight, he said. He said, because of what you've done, you will have to suffer for thousands of lifetimes in hell. And Ramanuja Acharya spoke to him and he said, that's exactly why I did it. I am ready to go to hell and suffer. What is the difference if a small insignificant person of myself ends up going to hell if everyone else can go back to Vaikuntha? He didn't care if he himself would have to suffer. He preferred that everyone else can go back to Vaikuntha. Everyone else can go back to Krishna. That was way more important to him. And so Goshti was so shocked by his mercy, by his understanding, that he understood that he's actually way more elevated than me. And he surrendered to Ramanujacharya and took shelter of him. Of course, Ramanujacharya didn't accept him as his disciple. He kept him as his guru for his whole life. But this story of Ramanujacharya shows the example of a devotee. And it shows the example that we see in all the Vaishnavacharyas. Not only Vaishnavacharyas, if you look at Adi Shankaracharya's life, you'll see the same. He wrote Bhaja Govinda, which clearly states, for all of us, it's so easy. We love to chant it. With the pure meaning, that simply by chanting Govinda's name, right? The first verse, Bhaja Govinda, Govinda, Bhaja Mudamate. Oh, fool, he's saying. Mudamate, someone who's fool, who can't speak, who's dumb, who knows nothing. Please chant Bhaja Govinda. Please chant Govinda's name, and he will take you back to Godhead. Everything will be fine. This is Sankaracharya speaking. And every verse, he's going on and on about this. Yeah, this material world is full of suffering. Chant Krishna's name. Only by his mercy will you go back to Godhead. He's saying again and again and again. He couldn't take it in anymore because he's Lord Shiva. It was too much. Impersonal philosophy was hurting him. And so finally he chanted Bhaja Govinda. So by the example of these acharyas, we see again and again and again, just as the Avanti Brahmana is saying, if you surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, then you'll be able to cross over this ocean of material suffering. And only by surrendering to the lotus feet of Krishna are you guaranteed. Yeah? Otherwise, there's no guarantee, as we said. Eventually, desires will come. You will go to the heavenly planet. You'll go to Brahma Loka. You'll go to all these amazing places of eternal enjoyment. Relative eternal. But eventually, your pious credits will run out. You will desire something more, something better. And you will have to come back down because you have no relationship going up. Yeah? You cannot go past there if you don't have a way to enter, a relationship to enter. It's like the pastime of Gopakumar in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Right? He went to each place, but in each place they would say, your relationship to Krishna doesn't match this place. You have to go more up. Right? He went to Shiva Loka, he went to Brahma Loka, he went everywhere. He went to Vaikuntha and he wanted to go and embrace Vishnu. Vishnu said, sorry, wrong place. Right? You have to go more up. But this is something that we have to also be very careful not to commit offenses and consider Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhvacharya, or their followers to be inferior in any way. Because it's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. As I always say, ever since I heard it, right, I was always so astonished that Sri Madhavendra Puri, who is considered one of our greatest acharyas, right, who's one of the three people in the whole cosmic creation, spiritual and material, that can experience Mahabhav. Mahabhav is the ecstasy that's only experienced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srimati Radharani, and Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri in the spiritual world is a kalpa vriksha tree. He's not a gopa. He's not one of the parents. He's not a gopi. He's not a saki. He's not a manjari. He is a kalpa vriksha tree. So how can we differentiate bhakti? How can we differentiate someone's eternal position in the spiritual world? Someone in Vaikuntha is supremely, perfectly happy. And we see that again and again with the example of Murari Gupta, with the example of Hanuman. How many times did they tell him? He says, no, my devotion to Ram is eternal. I can't break that. I know that Krishna is there, but sorry, Ram is for me everything. And Ram and Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they appreciate that so much in their pastimes. Yeah, so we should not differentiate, we should not make offenses, we should not consider anything to be inferior or superior, because where are we in the spectrum of devotion compared to them? Yeah, they're eternally happy and they're eternally blissful in their perfect position. So we should not judge. We should not consider anything to be inferior or superior. Yeah? Srila Ramanujacharya did his service to the Lord by giving the people a manner in which they can surrender to the Lord and attain Vaikuntha. That was his service. And they were all setting the scene for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come, bringing the people closer and closer and giving them different processes in which they can surrender. Not everyone likes the same process. Not everyone looks for the same goal. But it's perfect as long as it is pure love to the Lord, whether it's in any of the 5 rasas. Yeah? Then it's perfect. There's no question about that. Yeah? So we'll finish there for today. I hope there's some questions or comments. Anything? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
It's working.
Okay. Could you define what is really surrendering to the Lord?
Okay. Surrender to the Lord, I mean, we can take the analogy from Bhagavad Gita, that one gives up all his ideas or attachments to what he's supposed to do and simply follows the instructions of the Lord. Yeah? We, with our intelligence, sometimes consider that we know something that I'm supposed to do or follow. I am this, I am, strong, I am weak, I am tall, I am short, I am man, I am woman, I am this, I am that. And because of that, we think that I have to act in a certain way. But Krishna very clearly says, simply by following the 9 processes of bhakti, right? There's those processes that are there, and we have to surrender and fully accept that this will work for us. Sometimes we like to have this guarantee. I forgot which Maharaj was saying, but he was saying he went to someone's house, and they had Radha Krishna on the altar, but behind them they had pictures of everyone else. Right? They had Indra, Vishwakarma, Brahma, Shiva, Parvati, Durga Devi, Kali Ma. Everyone was there on the altar. They wanted to cover all their bases to make sure. Just in case I was wrong, she's still there. He's still there, right? So that's not surrender. Yeah? This is your warranty, not warranty, how do you call it? Insurance plan. To make sure, just in case. No, you have to fully surrender to the instructions of the Lord and have faith in his instructions. It's just like the pastime of Draupadi, right? She was calling out Krishna's name, but she was still holding on to her sari, trying to fight Dushasana. Dushasana is one of the people, Maharathis, who are as strong, I think, as 10,000 elephants. I don't think he's as strong as Duryodhana or Bhima, but he is so powerful. And she was trying to fight with him. Like, you have to understand that she was still relying on her own strength and her own power to fight against this Maharathi. But only when she raised her arms and completely surrendered to Krishna did Krishna then provide. So Krishna will not intervene into our efforts until we give him the freedom to do as he wills. So pure surrender is when we sarva dharmam parityaja, when we actually give up. Not just, oh, yes, my Lord, I'm not going to follow karma, jnana, all the other processes. I'm just going to surrender to you. No, it's when we fully surrender and offer everything we have for Krishna. Just like Prithu Maharaj did. Prithu Maharaj still had to follow so many different processes and so many different activities that we might not consider going to Mangalarti, chanting 16 rounds, going to Srimad Bhagavatam class. But why did Prithu Maharaj do them all? For pleasing Krishna. He didn't do them so that he can still go to Indraloka and enjoy at the end of his life. He didn't do it so that, he would get this and this and this in his future life. He did it because that's what Krishna gave him as his duty, and he did it only for that purpose, to please Krishna. Whether in his next life he was a worm, or whether in the next life he would be born as a dog, it didn't matter to him. He wasn't doing it for some material gain in the future. Sometimes we perform our Krishna consciousness knowing the benefits, right? If you chant Hare Krishna, it's so much more than any Ashramita sacrifice. So then we calculate in our head, okay, so one mantra equals this many Ashramita sacrifices. So I am guaranteed happiness whether it works or not. We do it subconsciously. I'm still feeding people. I am still doing service for, Samaj Seva, doing nice, good work. We don't actually do it for pleasing Krishna until we really surrender. Until we start developing a relationship with the Lord, we're still thinking a little bit of our own future enjoyment. So true surrender is when we really give up any attachment to the fruits of our actions. And then really surrender that whatever I'm doing for Krishna. And whether he wants me to be born 100 more times, like in Sikshastakam, or he wants me to go to the, deepest bottom pits of hell to preach Krishna consciousness, I'm fine with that. Do whatever you want, but I'm going to continue doing my service because it's for you. Yeah? So when you think of surrender, you can always consider that way, that as long as I'm still holding on to a small idea of a future result, to that degree, I'm not surrendered to the Lord. And to that degree, there'll be problems. To that degree, we'll be struggling in this ocean of material suffering because we're still holding on to something, some weight, some problem, and not fully surrendering and jumping in the boat. Did that answer, Prabhu? Any other question or comment? Yes, Brian, Prabhu.
Thank you for the class. You mentioned before the Ugra karma, that is this attachment to hard work. And I wanted to ask you, where does it come from? Or why do you think it's there? It's just because of it kind of gives a feel that we are able to control the action, or it's just born of the mode of passion, or what would be, why are everybody so attached to this Ugra karma?
It's a very good question, and it's kind of as Shankaracharya says, that you're born again and again and again and again and suffering in this material world for so long that this is all we know. We try so hard to get material enjoyment, and at every step there's a problem, and so that's what we know. It's like the camel. Yeah, it chews on the thorn bushes, and it thinks it's so tasty. It's in pain, but it thinks that that's what pleasure is. Yeah, his tongue gets poked by the thorns and starts bleeding, and he thinks, such juicy thorns. Yeah? So that's all he knows is pleasure. And so we can't imagine that there can be something better. We are still holding on to that sweet taste of that sweet that we liked when we were a kid, that ice cream from this and this shop, that's enjoyment. Krishna consciousness, we haven't experienced that kind of enjoyment yet. And so we still hold on to that idea that this is enjoyment. Eating that ice cream, getting sick, going to the doctor because you have diabetes, that's enjoyment. And we know that this problem and this problem and this problem, it's like, ice cream is such a good analogy because you go to any nutritionist, any doctor, and they say it's the worst thing. It's too sweet, too cold, and too fatty. But who doesn't love ice cream? Everyone loves ice cream, but it's full of problems, but still we love it. Yeah, so we're the camels in the end of it. So we're holding on to this idea of happiness, and we haven't surrendered to the understanding that Krishna consciousness is the true happiness. And so as long as we're addicted to this idea that we have to struggle in order to get to become happy, we continue struggling in this Ugra karma. Yeah? And like you said, it's a combination of that with the idea that I am the controller. I perform activity, I get a certain result. Even though we have to understand that it's not us who are getting the result, Krishna still gives it, and he still has the free will to do so. It's like the child thinks, okay, I'll clean up my room and I'll get a sweet. I earned the sweet through cleaning my room. But no, it's the parent who still decides to give a sweet yes or no. Krishna is still deciding whether you get the results. So this process of karma is Krishna's rules. It's Krishna's system that works because he gave it. But we think that no, it's us. I'm doing the activity and I get the result. It's Krishna. It's fully Krishna. It always was Krishna. But this ingrained default nature in us to desire this work, to get this happiness, it's very difficult to give up. And that's what ahankara is. As Stas says, to give up false ego. To give up the idea that I am this and I perform this activity to get this result is all part of our material identification. I make money by doing this. No, you're not making anything. You're doing an activity and Krishna is pleased, so he's giving you some result. If he decides then it's not going to work, you can give hundreds of examples. You work so hard in a field, plowing, digging, weeding, putting seeds, and then no rain, or too dry, or too cold, frost comes, everything gone. How easy it is for Krishna to destroy your plans, right? It's like you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. There's that saying, right? So it's so easy for us so easy for Krishna to mess up our idea of what will give us happiness. But he doesn't, because that's the way that he gave this idea of karma. Not the idea, the system of karma. And so it gives us the ability to still think we're in control, to still try to enjoy this material nature. Because that's what we wanted in the first place. We wanted to enjoy separate from Krishna. So until we understand that Krishna consciousness is the real happiness, that this ice cream that we're stole or eating or whatever is not actually going to bring us anything lasting, then it's very difficult to give it up. Until you have tasted something higher. That's always the example that's given. Something true happiness. It's very difficult to give up what we're holding on to. There's the English saying also, right? A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. You've heard this saying? It's a common hunter saying that you're hunting, right? And you have one bird in the hand. You already killed one bird. You have something, but you're going to go chase the two birds that might be in the bush, right? So what you have is better than what you might have. So this is ingrained, this mentality that I have this happiness. I have these things that make me happy. What if Krishna consciousness doesn't work? What if this process is all a big scam, right? So we're holding on to what little we have as our insurance policy, and we're not giving it up. Just like Draupadi, she's holding on to the sari, and she's saying, Krishna, Krishna, but in case Krishna doesn't help, I'm still going to hold on myself. In case he doesn't come. What if he doesn't come? But until she gave up, then Krishna came and gave everything. So we have to give up this idea that we have some control or some power to give us happiness. Then Krishna will take over. Make sense, Prabhu? Stas, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the class. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned in the lecture that one should not study the scriptures in the mood of I will check it out if it's true or not. But also we have like a very famous statement that doubts is the science of intelligence. And I wanted to ask you how should one find the balance between blind believing and checking? Yes.
Yeah, very good question. We mentioned in the very beginning, there's the verse about Gita, right? Tadvidi pranipaterana pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashna means to repeatedly question as well. Yeah, so it's not you hear something once and then even if you have questions, you don't ask again. No, you ask again and again and again and again until your doubt is cleared. But what is the motive or what is the mood you should be in? Paripatena, right? With humility, with surrender. Right? So we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, we're reading these books not to challenge, but to clear our doubts. And until we have doubts, we continue asking, continue reading, continue trying to find out with the eagerness and determination that I have to get rid of these desires I have. You understand? It's like you have a sickness and you go to the doctor, he gives you a medicine. If it doesn't work, do you give up? No, you go to the doctor again. It didn't work. Give me something else. He gives you another one. Try it. It doesn't work. You're going to keep trying until you get rid of the pain. Right? But if you go to the doctor challenging, I don't know if any of you experienced that, they're not very inclined to help you. Right? I mean, it's not a perfect analogy, but you understand the mood. You have to be in the right mood and the right feeling and continue doing service, right? Sevaya. Continue doing service, continue approaching with that humble attitude and continue searching for you to relieve the doubts. Doubts are extremely important in Krishna consciousness. Yeah? Because if you're doubts, that means you're thinking about what you hear. You're not just, okay, time for breakfast. Yeah? No, you're thinking about it. You're coming with questions, but I have this doubt, but I have this I don't understand. But how this? But they should be approached in the proper way. And that's the important part, the mood. Make sense? Otherwise, you're already closing. You're not going to be able to understand anything. You're already putting a fence to anything the person's going to say. Make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. As I came, there was I had very easy questions, so to say. But now, as I already stayed in the temple, I feel it's became more and more difficult to find the answers for any astrologist questions or some it's questions became more detailed and it became more difficult to find the answers.
Well, that's also could be, I'm not saying that you are, but it could be also your attachment to get a certain answer. Yeah, your attachment to get a certain gratification to your question. You understand? Some questions aren't necessarily relevant at the moment. Yeah? But it's our attachment to a certain idea of a certain response we're going to get. And so we go again to one person, to another, until we get the answer we want, rather than just, oh, this is what Krishna is trying to tell me. Make sense? Yeah, it's you see it with kids very often, that they go to the mom, Mom, can I have candy? No. Baba, can I have candy? No. Auntie, can I have candy? No. Uncle, can I have candy? No. Grandpa, can I have candy? Yes, here's the candy. Right? They go one to another, until they get the answer they wanted. Yes, I got my candy. Yeah? So surrendering to a certain authority or surrendering to a guru is so important. Right? Because until we take that step of surrender in diksha or shiksha, then we are constantly searching for the answers we want rather than surrendering to what the person is telling us. You understand? You know, sometimes you get an answer, you're like, yes, that makes so much sense. And it doesn't matter who it comes from. But sometimes you're like, wait a minute, but that doesn't fit into my idea of what's correct. That doesn't fit into my idea of what I wanted to hear. Yeah, so surrendering is so important to the process of Krishna consciousness, to the holy name, and to Guru and Vaishnavas. It's so important. Yeah? And so maybe you get an answer to a certain question, and you think, what, that makes sense. But it doesn't go so closely with my desires right now. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to practice. I'm going to do service. I'm going to chant. And I'm going to see if I'm able to actually understand what this person is saying. And if it still doesn't, then you come again. Prabhu, you said this still doesn't make so much sense. Can you help me get rid of this? It's bothering me. It's getting in the way of my service. Make sense? Yeah, so the mood, the surrender, so many factors are there. But the main thing, like we said in the very beginning, faith in the holy name, surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's all it is at the end of the day. Surrendering your attachments, your ideas, your false ego, everything to the Lord. And accepting His holy name as everything you have. Then everything is easy. We say so easy. But we have so many desires. Our insurance policies. In case it doesn't work, I still have my bank balance. In case it doesn't work, I have all my silver puja paraphernalia. Right? Yeah, I know. It's so true. Right? It's like, what? It's not yours, it's Krishna's. Why do you buy it? For the Lord or for your insurance policies? Right? Yeah, I remember when I was very small, my dad, he collected for a long time, people gave him different shalagrams and deities and paraphernalia. And I was looking at them while he was doing puja, and I was like, Peter, what's this? And he had this asana, which was gems. It was like 2 gems as a seating place for a shalagram. And I was like, what gems are they? And how much do they cost? And this and that. And he just looked at me and he said, they're not yours. They're not ours. They're Krishna's. So what does it matter? And I was like, oh, right. This big, puja plate. It's not ours, it's his. It's all his. Not only the paraphernalia in our house that's for him. Everything in our house is his. But it's so difficult to understand it that way. Yeah, so. Okay, we'll finish there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Janitar Gaura Premanandi. I can chant the mantras, that's as far as I go.